released in theaters worldwide. On Valentine's Day, February 14th, the Bob Marley biopic, One Love, has generated conversations amongst critics and even industry contemporaries, with opinions varying from the movie being great to it needing a remake. But instead of paraphrasing, let's hear some of what they have been saying.
This is my message to you.
This Bob Marley film straddles the line between it's okay and a below average biopic. I don't know what's happening nowadays, but these films are getting a bit too paint by numbers, a bit too formulaic. This movie has its own issues. It struggles and it hits the same kind of beats that you normally expect, especially the sainthood of a figure. I'm not here to claim Bob Marley was a bad person, but this movie very much paints him in the most positive, warm light. And I'm like, there's more intricacies to his life. I would have loved to explain, his relationship with multiple women. He has 11 kids. Tell me more about this man than just the surface level Wikipedia entries. And that's where I'm just like, none of these movies are doing it. And again, it's so paint by numbers. You've seen one, you've almost seen this all. Is this a moment where he's getting ready for a big concert and that kind of causes him to pause and reflect on his life, so then we kind of jump around in time? Yeah, that's exactly this. This movie never really hits the second gear. I will say that's kind of a problem I have with the main performance as well. This movie has some issues that really do weigh it down. Overall though, it's not bad. That's the problem. This movie should be better than what it is, but I've also seen this movie multiple times. I mean, Rocket Man, Judy, Bohemian Rhapsody. There's just a couple of them recently, especially. I mean, the Whitney Houston movie. We'll have it, the Amy Winehouse movie later this year. We've seen this. So when you're just kind of doing the average stuff, reading off the Wikipedia page almost, it doesn't allow me to be fully engaged. There's like an attempted murder the first 15 minutes of this movie, and I'm like, oh. And then we never really hit another height. And again, that is definitely something maybe with the character and with our lead performance that I'll touch on in a moment. But overall, I'm just kind of stuck on these movies. What can we do with the musician film about their life? What is the avenue? Where do we take this? Did I maybe want a stoner comedy of Bob Marley running into a person and telling his life story in a maybe hijinks-filled movie? That sounds crazy, but also it sounds different. You can still get the same message across. I can learn some things. This movie struggles, we'll talk about it in the next part, with being educational over entertaining, but I could have really got the entertainment value out of this more, but this feels like a documentary, and I love documentaries, but I would prefer to watch one at this point. I feel like these movies are just kind of run their course, and Bob Marley, unfortunately, the One Love film, suffers from just too much of too average.
Bob Marley One Love is in theaters now, so good news those of you who bought tickets to see Madam Web. At least there will be great music bleeding in from the walls of the theater next door. I think the pieces for a great movie are here, including an extremely talented cast. The movie, I think, just lacks a lot of focus, and it doesn't drive home the story as well as I think it could have. Any disappointment I feel in the film comes from the missed opportunities and not necessarily the quality of what is there on film. I think that a lot of people are going to love this movie simply because it reminds you of Bob Marley's music and his legacy and what he stood for. And that's great. The audience that I saw it with seemed to really enjoy the film. They were digging the music, and on that level, I think this is a really enjoyable film. I also think, by the way, that this is going to do really well at the box office. I would bet on it over-indexing expectations because the screening in my market at 5:30 on a Wednesday was actually more crowded than I've seen screenings on a Thursday later in the day for a preview of an even quote-unquote bigger film. So I think that this is a movie that is going to draw a lot of audience, and I think that a lot of the people that see the movie are going to like it, and I'm really only dinging it based on its storytelling, not its performance, and not what it stands for, and not its message. Those are all great things, but I think that there is a deeper and more complex way to look at Bob Marley's life and legacy than what we get in the film that could have helped you understand the man behind the music just a little bit more, especially for people that aren't as well versed in the ins and outs of his life and his biography. I understand that in a post-Walk Hard, Dewey Cox world, you cannot approach a music biopic straightforward without the risk of being mocked. And that's actually what I thought the film sort of looked like based on the trailers. That's not what you get, but I still think that there is a way to tell this story a little bit more in depth and perhaps a little bit more traditionally without going into Dewey Cox territory, and I think enhancing the impact of what we already get in this film. So even though there's a lot of great takeaways from the film, on my personal scale, this one gets an it's fine. If you love Bob Marley and you already know his life, then you'll probably enjoy it. If you love Bob Marley's music, there's a lot of great music in the film. And like I said, generally, it is a movie about positivity and a guy who stood for peace and acceptance and all of these different things, and those values are there in the film. The negatives for me are tied completely to what's not there in the movie versus what is there in the movie, and I think with just a little bit more tweaking, this could have been even better than what it is.
Welcome to That Guy Talks Movies. I am that guy talking movies, and on this episode, I want to talk about the Bob Marley biopic, One Love, Bob Marley, One Love. I did a review, or I did my reaction to the trailer on this back when I first saw the trailer. And in that trailer, I mentioned the fact that I thought that somebody like Bob Marley required the attention of the highest of the high when it comes to filmmaking, right? The story needed to be fleshed out. You know, where were they going to focus? The director needed to be a seasoned veteran of film and understanding how to execute a biopic, a successful biopic, and to capture somebody, especially someone as incredible as Bob Marley. I also talked about the fact that the script would have to be there. We need screenwriters who are going to be legitimate. And we're going to, obviously, you need the actors. And all of these components come together when you're even thinking about creating a film about such iconic, legendary, influential people, whether they're dead or alive. Now, my hesitation, my apprehension, my anxiety around this pick, all of it has surfaced. I saw the film earlier today, and it's pretty much what I thought it would be, a total letdown as far as I'm concerned. As horrible as the Whitney Houston biopic, I Want to Dance with Someone last year, probably not, but just not very good. All right, let me get the obvious thing out of the way first, all right? Kingsley Ben-Adir, who plays Bob Marley. No issue with that, really. Now, I'm not Jamaican, so it's not for me to criticize or critique or evaluate how great of an accent he had. I'll leave that to my Jamaican brethren, right? Not my thing. I don't think it was bad. I don't think it was, I think I would have noticed if it was outstanding and it was distracting, sort of the way this film's producer, Brad Pitt, attempted to do, the white brother, my brother Brad, tried to do in Meet Joe Black, which was horrendous. If he had done something that was just terrible, I would have noticed it, but that's not for me to talk about. I think as far as a performance goes and capturing what he needed to do as far as the likeness of Mr. Marley and, miming the singing, what he had to do in the few moments where he actually had to use his voice, I think was fine. I think Lashonda Lynch is a beauty that I can just stare at on screen always, no matter what she's doing. I just think she's just chocolatey goodness and an amazing actress. And I don't have an issue with her either. I think the issue really falls to the script, right? So I don't think she had enough to do. I don't think there was enough material there with their relationship, right? So let's get into what that really comes down to, right? That would be the story and the script. What do they focus on? They only focused on 2 years of his life here, right? So I believe it was 76 to 78. And, the Smile Jamaica concert, a little bit of the Exodus album, legendary album, incredible album. And there's you see some highlights, some lowlights. You get a sense of Bob's life. There's flashback to tell some of his childhood and some of his dreams and some of his memories and some of his, family stuff. But other than that, it's a totally flat picture. Now, here, I just felt like there's no supporting cast. There's nothing here. There's Bob Marley, Rita Marley, really, and then the rest of the characters kind of just thrown in, and they fit in here and there. There was nothing really substantial, and they didn't do too much. They left out a whole lot of stuff regarding Bob's life in general, in terms of stuff with other women and the relationship with Rita and some of the fighting and some of the things that took place and the children. There's a lot going on, and this man was complex, and there were things that they just left on the table, and it disappointed me. Now, there was going to be people who don't know anything about Bob Marley whatsoever. They may have heard a couple of songs at a barbecue a couple times, and they know the icon, this locked, beautiful man they've seen photos of, and they know the music, but they don't know anything about him. They're really whatever. And they're going to see this film, they're going to be like, oh, okay. I don't think they're going to learn anything. I think it's going to be a really bad history lesson on Bob Marley. I don't think they're going to get anything out of it substantial where they're going to really feel emotional about it when they leave and go, wow, and then the really diehard Bob Marley fans, people who are huge fans, and Jamaicans specifically, his countrymen. I don't know if they're going to hate it, but I'm pretty sure that they're going to feel let down. They're going to feel like, whoa, there should have been more. What is this, an appetizer? Is a pre-appetizer? This is like a drink of water? This is what you do? And I think there'll be people who are downright insulted. I'm one of them.
Well, you heard it yourself. The international critics have spoken, but what does the Jamaican viewing public have to say about the movie?
Bob Marley, One Love, it was such an excellent movie.
It's not about even the movie, Talking about the love of the movie. We need it now in 2024. Because right now, Bob Marley, I show you say from them time until now, I love that. That's why it name One Love and not Two Love it name.
The movie was great. I thought it was really great to see a side of Bob Marley that I didn't know about.
It's so much more than what we know or heard about Bob Marley. I talk about black people who just live in one love and unity.
They really captured the essence of the Jamaican culture and really got to look into Bob Marley's life and the legacy that he has left.
I got a lot about his history and enjoyed some good music.
It was, for me, the untold story.
For me, I'm younger, right? I've been to Bob Marley museum like 3 times and I've heard all about his life, and seeing it was something really different. Very, very, very cool. But I also cried in it because when the part when he gets shot, it really brought me to tears.
And it was very emotional.
It was truly beautiful, I think. It was very good. I enjoyed it. One love.
Bob Marley, I'm my star. Bob Marley born the 6th of February and I'm on the 8th. I love him so much, word without end. My star, Bob Marley. One love.
I'm just going in with pure joy and love. Expecting the best, expecting to get a story that's interesting.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Until next time, walk good.